my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky.
What if I told you that one of the most dynamic players in NFL history isn't even supposed to play his own position? At least, that's what the critics said.
Lamar Jackson's a project. He's not Sam Darnold. He's not Josh Rosen. You watched him last night. He's not even close.
And even Bill Polian said maybe they ought to think about moving him into wide receiver.
Lamar Jackson has yet to prove that he is an elite passer, period.
Those were the headlines, the talking points, the draft day whispers that stuck to Lamar Jackson like glue. And yet, almost a decade later, he's a two-time NFL MVP, a face of the league, and one of the most dangerous weapons football has ever seen.
He's fifth in the NFL in rushing. He's the quarterback. We've never seen anything like this.
Not bad for a running back.
They said Lamar Jackson wasn't a quarterback. And in a way, maybe they were right, because he's something else entirely. But here's the twist. For all the jaw-dropping highlights, for all the broken records, there's still one glaring hole in his resume.
They're gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that.
So, is Lamar Jackson a generational talent destined to be remembered with the legends? Or is he the latest in a long line of superstars who just couldn't get it done when it mattered the most? The answer might not be what you think. Today's video is sponsored by Factor. So I'm gonna be honest here. After a long day of work, hitting the gym, and trying to stay active, the last thing I wanna do is cook. That's why I've teamed up with Factor. It's the easiest way I've found to fuel my body without falling into another drive-through mistake. Factor gives you fully prepared meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready in just 2 minutes. And now, they've doubled their menu with over 80 restaurant-quality meals every week, including more high-protein options and premium seafood like salmon and shrimp, at no extra cost. One of the meals they sent me recently was this smoked Gouda and bacon shredded chicken hash. I'm telling you, it tasted something straight out of a brunch spot. It was actually really good. Super filling, it didn't feel like meal prep food at all. Factor honestly helps me stay consistent with my fitness goals. Instead of skipping meals or eating junk food, I pop a Factor meal in the microwave and just keep it moving. I'm honestly getting real food real fast, and it honestly tastes amazing. So, I got you guys. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use my code ASCFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for an entire year. That's code ASCFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Thanks again, Factor, for sponsoring this video. The NFL draft process is one of the most polished, media-driven spectacles in all of sports. But for Lamar Jackson, it was also a trial, one where he was being judged for a crime he didn't commit. From the very beginning, Lamar was fighting perception.
There's no question there is work to do with Lamar from a mechanic standpoint, with his lower body, with his release.
Despite winning the Heisman Trophy at Louisville and throwing for over 9,000 yards and 69 touchdowns in college, draft experts kept raising the same tired talking points. He relies too much on his legs. He doesn't read defenses well. He's not accurate enough.
And I'll say it again, Tebow 2.0 is coming. It's Lamar Jackson.
While other top quarterback prospects were praised for intangibles and leadership, Lamar, well, he was questioned for his very existence at the position.
And even Bill Polian said maybe they ought to think about moving him into wide receiver.
So Lamar, what was your honest reaction when multiple teams asked you to work out as both a quarterback and a wide receiver, being the Heisman winning quarterback that you are, though?
In the receiver thing, I don't know where that came from either, I never caught a pass. Youth football, high school, or college.
Scouts, they wanted him to work out as a wide receiver. They wanted to time him for the 40-yard dash. They wanted him to be anything but a quarterback.
Lamar, a lot of people were fascinated by your athleticism. Why did you elect not to run the 40 today?
I decided to run on pro day. I don't want to show it out here. They've been talking about receiving and stuff like that, so I didn't feel I should do it. When the receiver thing came out, I was like, oh no, I feel I shouldn't run the 40. If they see my speed, they probably will try to move me to another position. So I just did, throwing the ball, letting them know, I can be a quarterback.
But here's what they didn't know. This wasn't a kid stubbornly rejecting advice. This was a man who had already survived more than any GM, scout, or draft guru could imagine. So, while most prospects hired high-powered agents to handle negotiations, Lamar chose a different route. He didn't hire an agent at all. He hired his mom.
Now, you made the decision to not have an NFL agent and to have your mom represent you.
Felicia Jones, a single mother from Pompano Beach, Florida, became his manager during the draft process.
Lamar Jackson, his mom is sort of his representative. And I talked with a source yesterday. I said, is this a negative?
The football world rolled its eyes. Analysts called it unprofessional. Teams whispered about it behind closed doors.
I love my mom. She's fantastic. I don't want her as my agent. You don't have your mom as your agent. It's just not what you do.
But this decision had nothing to do with being cheap or inexperienced or even naive. It was about trust. Lamar, he was 8 years old when his world collapsed.
In 2005, our life changed. You know, our father passed away and my grandmother on the same day. I found out my father passed first because I was at the house actually, but I fell asleep. And then I wake up, my cousin them crying, I hear it. I'm like, what y'all crying for? Oh, you know, your Uncle Lamar, you know, my father. I'm like, what? And at first I start crying, then I just stopped. And then, you know, everybody come to the house, all my family members, and my mom tell me, like, she got a phone call. My grandma was probably in Daytona or something like that. And she was like, your grandmother just passed. And I stayed with my grandmother too, like, all of us stayed in the same house.
2 devastating losses back to back before Lamar even reached middle school.
That was crazy. So she had to be mentally tough at a young age.
In that moment, Felicia Jones became everything. Mother, protector, motivator, coach.
She felt like she was our father. You know, she treated us like man early. Like, she didn't treat us like little boys, like watching over us. She gonna tell us to do stuff, and she gonna teach us as we going along, just like she our father.
She raised Lamar and his siblings reaching discipline, faith, and work ethic. Football wasn't just a game. It was a way out.
Who's tougher on you, Coach Petrino or your mom?
Oh, my mom.
Yeah?
I tell my mom. My mom is just like, ever since I was younger, she always been the same person, and she always made sure I was on top of my game.
So when people question why Lamar would trust his mom to represent him, they missed the point entirely. This woman had already led him through the darkest nights of his life. But on what was supposed to be the best night of his life, Lamar Jackson, he's still waiting.
And Lamar Jackson's still on the board. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we have to throw Lamar Jackson's name out there at some point with New England just because Bill's an outside-the-box thinker with a 41-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't see Bill Belichick going with a quarterback right here in Lamar Jackson.
A couple other possible landing spots. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who have Blake Bortles just on a short deal. I'm told they have a little bit of interest.
One by one, names are called. 4 quarterbacks are gone. Lamar, he's still there. The last quarterback in the green room. His suit is sharp, his expression controlled, but the tension thick enough to feel through the TV screen.
Well, let me just say, when I was studying him, I thought he was a day 2 guy. So I'm not surprised that he hasn't been taken off the board just yet, but I think a couple things hurt him, to be honest with you. He didn't time in the 40 at the combine, he didn't time in the 40 on his pro day, and I felt that when you're going into your pro day, you play to your strengths.
There's times where he stares things down. He doesn't see underneath coverage. He struggles in the pocket when that first look isn't there.
And then the wait finally ends.
With the 32nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
There it is.
Wow.
With the 32nd pick, the Baltimore Ravens call his name. But behind all of that was something bigger. This wasn't just a draft pick. This was Lamar Jackson stepping out of that lonely chair into a career that would redefine what an NFL quarterback could look like.
What's your message to Ravens fans? You're going to get to Baltimore tomorrow. I know you're excited about that. What's your message to Ravens fans?
Hey, man, y'all going to get a lot of wins. I'm coming. I'm telling you, I'm coming.
Lamar, well, he would start his rookie year on the bench, backing up Ravens vet Joe Flacco. But by midseason, the Ravens were 4-5 and fading fast. Lamar would take over.
The Ravens arrive in Week 11 at 4-5. The Bengals at 5-4. Let's listen in as the crowd gets to see Lamar Jackson coming on as a starting quarterback, and he is greeted with a standing ovation.
Run it again, 3rd and 4. Look at the lead block by Stewart into the secondary. Brought down by Williams. It's Collins. Blocked by Brown. And that is to the pylon and a touchdown. He got a block from the receiver.
First ever start. Lamar Jackson, you are 1-0 in national football.
Baltimore won 6 of his last 7 games, made the playoffs. and change its identity overnight.
Lamar Jackson could take this team as far as that defense will let them go.
Breaks a tackle. He's to the 5, lunges for the pylon. Touchdown, Lamar Jackson.
How he's got the ability to make all the throws. Big time throw by that young man.
But Lamar Jackson has won games and has got the team's confidence. Lamar Jackson has totally turned the franchise around.
This team is so much better with Lamar at quarterback.
But that next year, 2019, yeah, that's when Lamar detonated the league.
Lamar Jackson has yet to prove that he is an elite passer. And if you are not an elite passer, you are not an elite quarterback. Period.
Jackson airs it out into a crowd. Oh, Marquise Brown, Hollywood.
He's fifth in the NFL in rushing. He's the quarterback. We've never seen anything like this.
Lamar's first full season as a starter was a masterclass in domination. He led the league in passing touchdowns, ran for over 1,200 yards, broke Michael Vick's single-season QB rushing record, and took the Ravens to a 14-2 record.
Nobody saw this coming. No. This kid is deadly accurate. He just flicks missiles. And just when you think it's safe to say, oh, he just dinks and dunks for the most part, he will launch a missile from 60 yards.
He became the unanimous MVP, only the second player in NFL history to ever do it, and the first at his age.
So congratulations to this year's most valuable player, Lamar Jackson.
And here's the thing, he wasn't doing it with gimmicks. He was doing it his way. He was reading defenses, manipulating safeties with his eyes, throwing to tight windows. He wasn't a game manager. He wasn't riding a great defense. He was the entire offense. When the ball was snapped, every defense had the same problem. They had no clue what was coming.
Can we stop ripping people because Lamar dropped to late in the first round? Joe Montana went in the third round, Tom Brady in the sixth. I still don't know if Dak and Kirk Cousins are any good. It's a hard position to figure out.
The NFL didn't have a Lamar Jackson defense yet, and if we're being honest, it still doesn't. Over the next few years, the Ravens would cycle through offensive coordinators, endure major injuries, and consistently give Lamar Jackson some of the least talented wide receiver rooms in the league. Didn't matter. When Lamar played, Baltimore won. And when Lamar didn't, Baltimore collapsed.
I think the Ravens right now, though, are in big trouble. They haven't played well for a period of time. They were barely beat the Broncos even without Lamar. They got beat by Jacksonville. Miami walked in there and beat them. They lost to the Giants. They're in huge trouble.
I mean, in multiple seasons, we've seen Baltimore fall apart the moment Lamar Jackson got hurt. Their win-loss record without him is under 500. The offense sputters, the magic disappears, because Lamar isn't just a quarterback. He's a system, a cheat code.
What's going on with Lamar Jackson?
All right, Laura, we mentioned Lamar Jackson and the progress he made with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, now the team officially has announced a new 5-year agreement with Lamar Jackson, tying him to the Baltimore Ravens through the 2027 season.
Lamar Jackson's got to be pumped on this brand new 5-year, $255 million deal.
Damn.
$185 million guaranteed. Negotiated himself with his mom. Congrats to Lamar getting that deal done.
Boy, Lamar.
By 2023, Baltimore decided it was time to evolve. They brought in offensive coordinator Todd Monken, drafted Zay Flowers, signed Odell Beckham Jr., and gave Lamar a real arsenal. And Lamar, he adapted.
Right now, the Ravens are back in their own territory. Jackson looking to dial it up. Jackson has time. Jackson gets out of the pocket. He's going to throw on the move. Rainbow caught. Zay Flowers.
In 2019, when he won it, he accounted for 43 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. If they all stay healthy, he is going to match those numbers and exceed the passing yards. Lamar Jackson going to win MVP of the league.
More pocket passing, quicker reads, surgical precision on intermediate routes. The Ravens, they went 13-4. He threw for over 3,600 yards and 24 touchdowns while adding another 821 on the ground. He also led the league in QBR. QBR.
This is a heavyweight fight, bro. It's legit game of the year.
Wow.
Yep. So, who you got?
Here's the big game. Ravens at the 49ers.
Everybody's talking about Brock Purdy and all the weapons, and he's a system quarterback.
In a league built on parity, it isn't often you see the top 2 teams in each conference with identical records facing each other this late in the season. Consider it one more Christmas gift, and the Ravens hope when you unwrap this one, it is filled with fun surprises.
You try to bite off a little bit of the yardage if you're the Ravens to make the field goal try easier on Tucker. Jackson will do just that and get the first down.
he did to San Francisco the unthinkable. We didn't think that was even possible.
Fake toss, Jackson, end zone, Flowers for the touchdown.
It takes a team to win an MVP award. All right, but I know who the MVP is. It's Lamar Jackson.
And in week 17, they obliterated Miami 56-19.
The Ravens come into today's New Year's Eve matchup with Miami with a chance to clinch a division title and the top seed in the AFC playoff race. And like 6 days ago, it will take another big effort by the defense to stop an excellent offensive opponent.
Miami up 7-0 on the Ravens. Shotgun for Jackson. Jackson looking end zone. Touchdown! Justice Hill slips behind the defense.
We've seen Lamar be great against other teams that we thought were great in the league and dominate them.
Jackson, step and fire. Oh, full separation for Zay Flowers. Flowers cuts it. Flowers has the angle and the touchdown.
And you can hear the celebration beginning here in Baltimore. It'll be a fun fireworks night as the Ravens ring in the new year as the top seed in the AFC.
They reached the AFC Championship game, and Lamar Jackson became a 2-time MVP, joining an elite list of only 10 players in NFL history. But even with all that, one criticism still hung in the air: the postseason.
Here's what I'm going to say about Lamar Jackson, and to be fair, this is a fair comment. In 4 games that he has played in the postseason, they've scored 52 points.
You are not guaranteed a playoff run or a Super Bowl just because you're talented.
But you haven't even gotten to a Super Bowl yet in the Lamar Jackson era. I challenge anybody to show me somebody who's going to win the MVP award, and at that moment, how little folks are going to care.
Through the 2024 playoffs, Lamar's record sits at 3-5. He's had rough games, missed opportunities, and in January, those moments are magnified.
The pass all the way, and down the field he goes, and it's intercepted right into the hands of Taylor Rapp. 2nd and 10. Awkwardness as Jackson wrapped up, the ball's out. Scooped up for Miller. For Miller with Hill chasing after him. Hill tries to swipe the ball out of his hands, but Miller holds on, and the Bills defense has a second takeaway.
He hasn't made it to a Super Bowl. And if we're being honest, that criticism is legit. But here's the thing about that. Peyton Manning took 9 years to get his first ring. Even Steve Young had to wait behind Montana before finally breaking through. Also, Lamar, he's only 28 years old. He's already accomplished more than most quarterbacks do in an entire career. The book isn't finished. So yes, the criticism, it's real, but so is the context. So let's zoom out a little bit. Look at the bigger picture. In 2018, they said Lamar Jackson wasn't a quarterback. 2019, he became the youngest unanimous MVP in history. 4 years later, he won another one. And in between, he changed how we scout quarterbacks, how we defend them, and how kids imagine themselves at the position. That old criticism, he's not a quarterback, hasn't disappeared, but his meaning has changed. It's no longer an insult. It's an admission that Lamar Jackson is redefining the position, that he's standing on the shoulders of players like Cam Newton and Michael Vick and continuing to bend the football's rules and forcing the league to adapt. And if that playoff breakthrough comes, if Lamar Jackson hoists a Lombardi trophy, that old narrative won't just be wrong. It'll be remembered as one of the worst takes in NFL history. Or maybe not, because ultimately, they were right. Lamar Jackson, he isn't a quarterback. He's much, much more.
I gotta be me at the end of the day. I can't be who you want me to be, because then I won't be Lamar.